Hey sis, have you ever noticed that how heavy things start to feel when somebody is living in secrets? When they're just holding on to all those secrets, stuff just feels so heavy. Like something feels off and you can feel it and you can tell. Like their energy shifts, maybe their behavior changes, and you can't always explain it and put your finger exactly on everything, but you can feel it. Let's talk about it. Because one of the most draining patterns a person can fall into is living a life full of secrets. Mm-hmm. Because what happens is, it's like, at first, it may seem like small, just small. And then, telling a tale here, being dishonest here, a little something hidden over here. And then a conversation they didn't want anyone to know about. They're just holding on dearly to that. But here's the thing, deception, it doesn't stay small. It doesn't stay small at all. It grows because every time they're dishonest and they make up something that's not true, they need to do it again to protect, being dishonest again and again and again. So they tell one tale, then they got to tell another one to protect it and cover that one up. Then they have to tell another one to cover that one up. Yep. And every hidden behavior needs another story to cover it. Mm-hmm. And what happens is that over time, like a person, they can find themselves like living two lives. Yes. Because they have two lives. They have the life they show people, then they have the life that they try to hide. Mm-hmm. And that's pressure. Like that kind of pressure, what that does is it messes them up internally. Because then they become more guarded, more defensive, more easily irritated. Yeah. Not always because somebody's attacking them. No, it's because they're trying to protect something. Hmm. And sis, here's what's happening underneath all of that. When somebody is carrying like deception, a bunch of deception and dishonesty, their mind is constantly working. Yeah, because it's trying to keep up with all the deception and all the dishonesty. They got to try to keep it straight. And so, what are they doing? They're trying to remember like what was said, trying to manage what was hidden, trying to keep everything from being exposed. Yep. And what does that do? That causes internal stress. Yeah. It causes stress emotionally. It also emotionally creates instability. They're not stable because they're trying to hide all this stuff. Yep. And then mentally, it creates confusion. Because now you got to remember who you said what to. Which person did you tell this to? Which person did you deceive with this story versus which one did you tell with that story? Or did I get that mixed up? Oh, where I said we was over here, but oh dang, we was over there. Oh, I said this, and then you they can't remember. It starts all kind of clouding together. Yep. And that's where they become unstable. And mentally they start having like confusion, and then spiritually it literally creates distance from the truth. They may be even trying to talk about your spiritual life because they know all this foolishness that they got going on. They're not even, that's not even being spiritually connected when you're sitting here doing all that. Yeah. And what happens though, sis, is like over time, people start to feel it. Like you may even feel it in your spirit because like you may be have solitude, and if you're very discerning, you could feel that energy and that type of deceptive spirit. You could feel it. But they don't understand it. They think you went in their pockets, or they think you went in their stuff. It's not that. You can feel it because you're not deceptive. But they don't understand it because they're all over the place and again unstable. Yeah. And then once you start to feel it, that's when the trust starts to shift. Now you don't really trust them because you don't know what's the truth and what's not the truth. Yeah. And then along with the trust, respect begins to shift. You start losing respect for them because then it's like you're not the person that I thought you was. You made me think you was something different, but this is really who you are. Yep. And the thing is that when somebody lives in deception long enough, their words start losing weight. I don't trust nothing to come out your mouth now. Now I have to try to figure out what's the truth and what's not the truth. Or now you got to figure out what's true that they're saying and what's not. Because now their words are losing weight because they're so dishonest. Yeah. And people may not always know why, but then they do start stepping back because you can feel it. The energy is different. And so what happens is you start taking steps back and just paying attention more. Yeah. Because what happens is that deep down, we all know like it's hard to build something real. Like there's not a lot of genuine people out here, unfortunately. I used to be so naive though. I'm just going to be transparent. I used to think that, I mean, I knew it was like bad people in the world and I knew it was dishonest people, but I always thought it was more honest than not. And it's probably because like you know what they say, birds of a feather flock together. So I hang around people that's got integrity, that's honest, that's genuine, that's not deceptive, that don't live too long. Like I don't was never in that world. But then I always thought like people like I was so naive to a lot of stuff that like people did. And so then I was shocked. I got shocked by it because it was like, oh dang, once you get exposed to people and their foolishness and the dishonesty, like it opens your eyes and then it makes you take like I used to put people on the pedestal, oh they'll never do this or oh they'll never do that. No, no, no. Like once you get exposed to all that, it changes it. I literally was so naive. And then I was like hard on myself for that because I'm very discerning. Like I'm super discerning, but it's like, dang. But I didn't, it wasn't that I didn't pay attention. I guess it was to a certain extent, but then some of it is like you didn't want to see it because it's that like they say, like you got disappointed at what you thought it never would be. You never thought that from that person. And then that kind of like pulls the rug from right under you. And it's like bam, it's like you on a ladder cleaning up or something like that, and your ladder just falls and you hit the floor, face plant on the floor that hard. That's how hard it hits you. Have you been through that, something like that? Let me know in the comments or put a thumbs up to let me know. So here's the thing, because deep down we all know it's hard, like I said, to build something real or something that's honest. And that's the other thing. It's like I thought way more people were more honest than they are. But there are honest people out there. That's the thing. There are honest people. I just thought it was more of them than it is. Of course, I don't know what the actual number is, but I'm just saying I was more naive and I thought like if you, I always thought like if you, because I firmly believe you reap what you sow. So I'm thinking if you always sow good, you're gonna always reap good, and the people that you that are the beneficiaries of you sowing good, I thought they always would reciprocate that, but that's not true. That's not true. That's why you have to pay attention and stuff. And never, one thing I learned, one hard lesson is never put anybody on a pedestal. So anyway, deep down, like I said, we all know it's hard to build something real or something that isn't, or something that's honest. And but here's the deeper truth, deeper than that. So secrets, they don't just affect relationships with other people; they affect the relationship that somebody has with their own self. Because you sitting there telling yourself something that you know is not true, and that's crazy. Because now you are talking yourself into it to believe in it. Not crazy like that, but I'm just saying like that's wild to even think that a person would, like, they're not even honest with themselves. So it affects the relationship that they have with their own self. So think about with you, like if they can't even be truthful with their own self and acknowledge where they're wrong or where they're deceptive or where they're living a double life, they're not gonna do it with you, right? So the thing is that because when somebody lives outside of the truth, now they start losing clarity because they're not even living in reality. Because, it's your story, tell it how you want to now because you're just making up stuff that's not even true. Because, like I said, what they start doing is they forget what they said. They feel scattered because you done told so many, you've been so dishonest, you can't even keep up with what's true. So now you all over the place. Instead of just being honest and truthful, then you don't have to remember anything. They also feel disconnected because, in a sense, it's like you disconnected from reality because you're not living the truth. You're splitting yourself into multiple people. Yeah. And then what happens is eventually it even becomes hard to even recognize what's real anymore. And this is why the Bible reminds us, though. It's like the Bible reminds us that what's hidden will eventually come to light. I have a favorite saying this. I always say, what's in the dark always come to light because it always will. It may not be today, may not be tomorrow, maybe not be next week or the week after, but eventually it will come out. Yep. And the Bible reminds us that what's hidden will eventually come to light, not to shame us or anything like that, but to bring things back into the truth and the light. Because healing can't even happen in hiding and being dishonest. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. And if you feel like you are being honest, knowing that you sitting here telling a bold-faced story, how you gonna change that? Because you're not being honest. And it's talking to somebody like that is just talking to a brick wall. Because they're not even being honest. So who are you talking to? Like, what? Who am I talking to? Which person? It's like I don't know. Yep. Healing cannot happen in hiding. And God doesn't expect perfection, but He does call us into truth. The truth shall set you free. Yep. Because the moment somebody chooses honesty over hiding and being dishonest, that's when they start healing. But they're never going to start healing if you keep on being dishonest and hiding secrets. Not going to happen. Doesn't even match up. Yep. Once they're honest, once they start to become honest and don't stop hiding and all that, that's when they can begin to heal. That's when they start having peace. That's when they can stop looking over their shoulder. That's when they can stop being so what's the word, paranoid, more thinking people are looking at this and that when they're really not. You just got all these secrets because you got all this going on. Hmm. So if you've ever dealt with somebody who was living in a bunch of secrets, or you even found yourself holding on to things that you need to release, you don't have to live that way. And you don't have to carry that weight. If you're holding on to stuff that you need to release, that's a secret, just let it go. Again, we can't change what we don't acknowledge, so just acknowledge it. And if you deal with people, or you're dealing with someone that's keeping secrets, this is, I just hope you remember, like everything that we discussed today. If they have all these secrets and living double lives and having all these secrets, they will never be able to heal until they acknowledge that they are not being honest. But if they keep saying they're honest and they keep covering up all this stuff, they'll stay buried in secrets. Yep. And sometimes the most freeing thing a person can do is just simply say, like, God, I'm ready to be honest. I surrender. I surrender it all to you. Something like that. Or just simply, I'm ready to be honest. And then just let him restore you from there. Or they need to let them restore them from there if it's somebody that you know of or you dealing with. Okay. So I hope this message helped you find some peace and clarity. If it did, please like and subscribe. And as always, I'm wishing you peace, love, joy, and happiness. My name is Melinda. I'm a registered nurse, a life coach, and a mentor. And on our channel, we focus on faith, healing, and emotional wellness. Okay, so have a great day. Great day. I hope this blessed you, and I hope this was helpful for you and can help you, get some clarity on what you may be dealing with. All right. Have a great day. Bye.